So good evening, everyone, and a big welcome to all of you for this Valverde pre-launch webinar tonight. I know quite a few people are still joining as we speak, but it's going to get going. I think the objective of tonight is really to have a very informal, relaxed conversation. We know everyone is super excited about what's coming on Saturday. The product's been a long time in the making, been geared heavily around market demand, and the interest to date has been off the charts. In the 4 weeks pre-launch, all building up to the first release on Saturday at 9 o'clock. We've got a really key team here. We've got on the finance side, we've got on the sales side, we've got on the architecture side, and we've got on the development side, and really a team who's walked a very, very long journey to bring this project to where it is and to a point where it's overflowing with interest. And I think the objective tonight is really to give you unique insights, to answer questions that you may need to ask or may want to ask prior to launch, and really want to give it's a bit of a hack tonight. It's anyone who's made the effort to listen to us or who listens to the recording to get that inside track in terms of knowing what to look for, what to do, what to prepare, and who to chat to prior to launch on Saturday. So I really invite you to ask as many questions as you possibly can in the chat function below. I'm going to try and direct those to the team and ask anything you want. If you want to know about levies or rates or pet policies or construction dates or whatever it may be, objective is to answer this and to answer as many questions as you possibly can at the time. And I think before I introduce the team, I think we know what is driving the growth of the area and what is driving the demand for a product like Valverde. And I think when Bruce and Deon and the team talk about the preparation, we'll talk about it being geared around the fact that you're getting 93 families a month who are moving into that greater area of Stellenbosch and Somerset West. We know the demand for estate living. We know the premium attached to estates in terms of capital appreciation, but also value. We're seeing the Somerset West area that there's a 77% high value attached to those buying within estates, just because the amenities, the facilities, the security that comes with it. And credits the team who put this project together. I think we're excited. My name is Stefan Botha, by the way. I'm from Rainmaker Marketing, and we're fortunate to be the marketing team behind the project. But my job is just to ask the questions this evening, facilitate the discussion, and just try and cover as much ground as we can. We're going to be talking for about 45 minutes. We know everyone's time is really valuable. And like I said, there will be a recording here, which we circulated tomorrow to everyone on the database. And you can share that with friends and family, business partners, and people you might be investing with. But Saturday, 9 o'clock, release the first phase, which is only 52 opportunities. As you know, plot and plan opportunities in terms of land and home types, which we'll go through, starting from 4.7 million, 3 and 4 bedroom options. And I think super, super exciting and looking forward to going through with you guys. So I think before we jump into it, I do just want to do a short introduction of the different team members. Everyone here, you can see they've got backgrounds, either the layout or different elements of the architecture, which Bruce and his team have worked really hard on. But a team who have got massive experience, massive understanding of that Somerset West market, and a team who, like I said, have walked a very, very long journey with the project. So I think just in no specific order, I think just a welcome to Deon van Zyl, who is one of the developers of the project. I think anyone who is anyone within the property sector in the Western Cape will know Deon. He's the chairman of the Western Cape Property Development Forum, has run that or chaired that since 2011, also has 27 years of development experience, specifically around Somerset West, Paardenvlei and Pole, and his development management company, Vorto, is also one of the shareholders in Valverde. So Deon, really looking forward to chatting to you, and I think getting a lot of the insight into the vision behind the project. So how's it? And then I think just from a then I just didn't hear you there, just to clarify. But we'll get back to that in a second. And then Bruce, just wanted to make sure I can hear you.
Yes, good evening, everybody.
How's it, man? Yeah, so we'll get back to Deon in a sec in terms of audio,
Mm,
but I think just the introduction to Bruce, Bruce Wilson Architects. I really have been blown away by what him and his team have put together, both on Valverde and many of the other projects that they are involved in currently. One of the current projects is about La Terra Estate in Paul, which is 218 homes, but really, really renowned for their off-plan architecture, and really creating well-designed, well-developed elements involved throughout the Western Cape, Stellenbosch, Darling, Simonstown, and so forth. So yeah, Bruce, really looking forward. And I always say with these things, pre-launch, to hear it directly from the architects. It's like one of those things. The architects have always they always seem to know because they've got such a good feel for the lie of the land.
mm.
And I definitely will be asking Bruce what his recommendations would be if he was sitting in any of your shoes ahead of launch, what to look out for, and really to unpack the differences in the different unit types. So yeah, Bruce, how's it, man?
Yes, thank you so much.
And then yeah, I think Colin from Better Bond, Western Cape Regional Sales Manager for Better Bond. I mean, Colin comes with massive experience in the sector. I think over 30 years, having worked for one of the leading banks, got into the mortgage origination and finance sector. But I think those of you who don't know who Betterbond are, they are the leading mortgage origination company in South Africa and really provide or play such a massive role in a project like this in terms of getting the banks on board from an end user financing perspective, but also making the financing process such a seamless one for buyers and really, really key. And we'll be talking about the process to follow. We'll also be talking about the Betterbond pre-approval app, which is part of our website, and just to be able to go through that process tonight. So how's it, Colin?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks, Stefan.
And then, sorry, Lanis, I should have introduced you from the outset, so apologies for that. But Lanis Salmon, who is one of the development sales specialists, probably has more experience than anyone else when it comes to that Somerset West, Greater Heidelberg market area, been involved from a selling perspective for over 20 years in the area, a wealth of knowledge, and I think a very good understanding for what drives the markets and why we're in a position where we're so excited about this weekend and the projected take up, but also just the level of interest to date. So, Lannis, always good to have you.
There you
I
go.
think we may have lost lost Lannis, but Deon, are you back?
It's tried. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we could hear you. Yeah.
Great. Thanks everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, cool. So I think yeah, let's as soon as Lannis is back, we'll involve her in the discussion. But let's keep going. So I think, Deanna, I'm going to start with you. That we know a project of this magnitude doesn't come without a lot of time and sweat and energy in many ways in terms of getting it to a point from approval perspective, but also the many minds and resources that go into packaging. And I think number one, maybe a little bit on the background to where we've got to today. And number two, I think just the underlying or underpinning reasons why you guys chose the site
Mm.
and the product that's come with it.
Thanks, Steph. Yeah, the property has got a fascinating history. It was purchased around about 97, 98 by the Moix family from France. And the idea was originally to establish a French wine brand in South Africa. Now, the property is about 40 odd hectares in size. Just to put it in layman's terms, that's 80 rugby fields stacked next to each other. And about 2010, 2015-ish, a little bit earlier, the family decided that the water yield on the property wasn't sufficient to run a wine estate. The urban edge was moving at the time, and we got involved to assist with firstly changing the rights of the property, which was quite a cumbersome process. At the time, the property was outside of the urban edge. It's subsequently been moved into the urban edge. We went through a full environmental impact assessment. We went through various land use application processes. and eventually culminated in being granted the rights to develop the property with very strict urban design guidelines, very sensitive landscaping approach. And I must say, the development consortium have really embraced the requirements from the municipality, from the city of Cape Town, worked very closely with the city of Cape Town, and the product that we're bringing to the market is really unique. It's unique in scale. It's unique in the fact that if you look behind me on the site, you'll see some substantial tree lines on the property, windbreaks originally planted for the vineyards, and those are all being kept. So we're really building 4 villages within this bigger 39 hectare property. Um, and the beauty of using the landscape, using the windbreaks, is that although the site is substantial, you won't be living on a construction site. You'll be in parcels of the property. It's screened off by the trees. It's got magnificent views, as you can see behind me. And it's very well located, 2 odd kilometers away from Mediclinic, Vergelegen Mediclinic, close to very good roads, close to very good schools. As somebody said to us one day, you're actually developing between Hermanus and Stellenbosch, and that's the beauty of the Helderberg. So in short, the history today, we are a consortium of 6 shareholders in the property. 3 of them are also the landowners. The landowners are walking the full road with us. So we're really being given the opportunity and the time to do a quality product on the site, which is really a sensitive piece of land.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Deon. And just so you guys know, I'm sure Lanis will join again, but we'll bring her in when she's back. And just a reminder to please ask any questions at the bottom, and I'll get through them. But I think just to add to what you're saying, Deon, I think one of the things, I mean, if you look at the site from behind you, you probably don't, you wouldn't, very difficult to get a feel for the actual slope and to get a feel for the sea views you're getting. And I think that was one thing that sort of struck me from the first time we were on site, is just how beautiful those views are and how well positioned you are. And I think one of the things, definitely from our side, is one of the biggest indicators for us. I mean, obviously involved in quite a number of projects around the country, is when the developer starts by working back from what the market needs. And I think that's for me is probably a huge thing to add to what you were saying in terms of where's the market demand in terms of price point, and how do we create a product offering that works back from that, as opposed to let's create a product offering and see if the market will come. And I think that is a huge component. I think you guys have done an amazing job at putting that together. And really, I think direction to Bruce and his team about how do you work back from size-wise and stuff like that and really create an amazing product. And I think that's super exciting. And I think just to add to that question-wise, I think you spoke about the open spaces. I don't think people realize that 65% of the development is open spaces. And I think we've spoken about this park facing by design. And I mean, Bruce, you can come in there too. But I mean, how in your mind, how significant is that to the overall final product that guys are going to get?
I would really wish to emphasize this point. We do a lot of homes around the Western Cape, and we work on a lot of beautiful estates. And this point, Steph, is particularly unique. The fact that every home faces onto the Woon-Erf and every home faces onto the green belt is not something we've done before. And so it really is an incredible opportunity for us to then place these homes within that context. So if I could say one thing to purchasers, this is genuinely unique. Like you, Steph, we look at a lot of estates. We design a lot of homes. We love these homes, but we specifically love how these homes work on the sites for those reasons. It is absolutely unique in my experience.
Yeah, I mean, Deon, I don't know if you want to add to that, but I mean, it's definitely been something that you guys have been super passionate about from the outset.
Look, I think this is the story of the site. This is not just another development site. This is a site that has got a lot of emotional attachment for the shareholders. The brief from day one, when I was involved as a consultant before coming on board in the development team, is respect the land. Do something special and do something unique and do something that we'll all be proud of. Maybe just something on the development team. So we're 6 developers involved. 3 of them are sitting outside of South Africa right now. And yet it's important for them to remain involved in the site. So you can just imagine these project meetings from Bulgaria to France to Portugal, and often Berlin's involved as well. Um, it's people that have been passionate about the project from day one. You say that we look after the market, and we absolutely look after the market, but we also start with an urban design approach. Two of the role players on the development side were originally involved in Schöneberg down the road in Somerset West. For those that know that project, you'll appreciate that urban design and architecture is absolutely paramount and add to that landscaping. So we didn't approach the project purely from what is the feasibility. Of course, the feasibility is important, and of course, creating value for purchasers is important, but it was driven from a design passion point of view, and add to that, bringing an architect like Bruce online, who is really passionate about the project as well, has been an absolute privilege. So on the one hand, of course, this is a business transaction. On the other hand, it is truly a passion project. And yeah, coming off site this afternoon, walking around the site with one of the bank's valuers, and just seeing the passion in a valuer's eyes was quite an experience. So I really encourage people to come and see the site for themselves on Saturday.
And I think, judging by the length of the meetings, it definitely implies that it's a very, very much a passion project. So yeah, that's
Stefan, I would like to jump in there and say, a lot of the time we have to work very hard to make homes livable. The emphasis on integrating the urban design and the landscape has been so helpful here, that we've been able to develop a number of home types quite easily that meet the market where it is. And I really want to stress this point. We always put ourselves in the position of buyers as well. I've got young kids. In 10 years' time, they'll be empty nesters. What I do then? Can my staff or the people that I work with afford the entry-level home? It's very much part of our ecosystem, how we address this. And it's been a real pleasure to be able to actually meet the whole spectrum in these homes. And that's very much due to that integration of land that Deon has been mentioning. It goes without saying, we always consider slope, wind, view, etc. That's basic. But in this case, there's a particularly unique integration and confluence of these elements. So very happy with very, very happy with the brief we've been given here.
And the fact that you can't hide the 5-kilometer jogging routes, Bruce, and you will have to get outside of the house and go and experience
100%.
it. Yeah.
And I think also to add to that, just to think from marketing perspective, so often in these larger estates, obviously Valverde is a significant estate, but with that comes the facilities that come with it. But you always look at the guys who, when an estate is mature, you think, jeepers, how did that guy pick that plot? How did the guy pick that plot on the dam? Or how did they get that plot on the green spaces or whatever? And it's always this thing, you pick first, you get the best, and it shapes everything. It shapes the livability for you and your family. It shapes the capital appreciation. And that is the beauty. The beauty is we're launching the first 52 opportunities, which, when we go through that layout, have been so well configured around dam access, around green areas. And when you're onto green areas or dams, it's actually less about the size of the plot. It's actually more about what you front onto, which effectively becomes exclusive use. So I can't emphasize enough. Many of you will have been down this journey before, but you get in early, you never ever regret it. And I think the appreciation that comes with it as infrastructure goes in and fencing goes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think we always get massive excitement to see the first guys who walk in there and capitalize on that, because they're the guys who see huge value in times to come.
Yeah, Steph, just to add to what you're saying, again, referring to my walk about the site this afternoon with the valuer, she said to me, take me to the worst earth. I said, I can't take you to the worst earth. I'll take you to the cheapest earth. And walking around the earth, she said to me, well, if this is the worst you've got, you don't have anything bad. I said, absolutely. But what she did emphasize is every plot is unique. And I think Lanis can probably talk to that as well, is the diversity of views and vistas and tree alignments and park positioning. It is really a case of deciding what your lifestyle quality is and choosing that earth that complements that one specifically. And as Bruce said, having a choice up front of 5 housing typologies, 3 different roof types, what you are not going to get is a cookie cutter answer.
Yeah, no, very definitely. The lovely thing is that we do have extensive opportunities here, not only from an orientation side, but as you say, from the different styles of the houses and the plans. And buyers are very interested in views and orientation, particularly in Somerset West, where north facing has become a thing that people look for. At Valverde, every plot has actually been carefully positioned to enable the best views and position of the house, and prioritize wherever possible for that aspect.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And again, like we said, I think Lanis and the team not only understand the site and the area so, but the orientation is quite key. And I think that is probably our one hack is chatting to the team prior to Saturday and just getting a feel. We've got the marketplace, which we'll pull up in a second, which gives you the views from the different sites, and play around with that off the back of what Lanis and Bruce are going to say. But I think, Bruce, just to add to that, I mean, obviously there's a lot of work that's gone into 5 different home types. It's in the brochure, which we'll share. It's on the website and so forth. But can you maybe just talk through those 5 different types and what differentiates type A from type E?
I'll bring them up. There's a lot of things that doesn't differentiate them, Steph. I need to be clear about that. You know, the fundamentals of how people live don't change. You know, and what we've seen, a place to call home is absolutely timeless. So we try to design in that timeless way. So things like where the front door is, what's the arrival experience, how does that flow through the public spaces, how does my kitchen adjacent to the back of house spaces, if you will, connect to the garage and the back garden, how is there a journey through private spaces up to the main bedroom, which is the principal private space in our opinion. How those things relate to each other. So I don't expect any purchasers to pick up on this on the brochures, but the homes have been designed very carefully so there's no overlooking between the homes. Everything faces out to the street or to the green belt, for example, not into each other. So there's a lot of things that are the same about the houses, and those are those fundamental timeless patterns that we designed to. And so I'm delighted to say that all the homes tick those critical boxes. And we refer to that as just good bones. And I'm sure a lot of purchasers might have heard that phrase before. You know, the fundamentals of the homes are good. And then, you know, what's cool about, for example, type A as a double-story home, it's only 1/2 of the home is double-story. And the joy of that is it means that it's not overshadowing the neighbor, but also you've got more protected views over your own single-story garage. That double-story portion will be positioned to optimize wind shelter and the best views and sunlight. There's a lot of consideration on the placement of, you know, does the sun rise into the bedrooms and set into the living rooms? You know, those kinds of fundamentals. Yeah, so those things are all intact. And then it really is a case of choice. It's a case of, you know, number of bedrooms. Do I want full upstairs options? Do I want ability to have a larger or more flowing ground story patio area, for example? The type G is really designed for that sort of larger entertainment space. It really becomes that lifestyle decision on the variation. So actually, Steph, it occurred to me I can't actually answer your question about the variance because it's very much about choice. Are you a sunrise person, a sunset person? You know, it becomes that kind of decision. But the joy is that, you know, there's that option for everybody.
Spoken like a true architect. Hey? Not answer a question in 5 minutes.
Not answer the question.
But there are a couple of consistencies, Bruce, that you could perhaps point out. Floor to ceiling heights, for example, door sizes, things like that, which is really, going that extra step.
I agree, Deon, and again, the urban design framework really allows for the individual identity of each home, but within the overall thumbprint. So just to sort of restate what you said about it not being cookie cutter, these are not all over the place visually. You know, there's a coherence, but there's a uniqueness. So that, Steph, I don't need to bore people with the details, but that takes quite a lot of work behind the scenes, and we're very happy with that outcome. This is a particularly coherent and sort of well-packed arrangement of options here.
Yeah, and I think I mean, you mentioned behind the scenes. I don't think people get to see. I mean, we were party to seeing the back and forth between yourself and developer, analyzing spaces, And I think that's the thing that excites us when you see that product going to market with every single little space has been thought through. And yeah, knowing that there's a huge responsibility to the product offering that you're putting out there for end users. Colin, I mean, sorry that we haven't left you hanging there. I know you're on mute, just a heads up. But I think that the key thing is we've got people who we know are raring to go on Saturday. I think two questions from our side, or from our side to start off with, is how does one go about understanding the affordability? We want to be in a position where guys are choosing options that they can afford and that work according to what they can get. But I think also just re-emphasizing what the benefit is of utilizing a service like Better Bond in terms of being able to go right through your financing applications.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. I think the first step, as you say, get qualified. So do a pre-qualification so you can get an understanding of what you can qualify for in terms of a home loan. From our side, obviously, we would apply for finance at all the banks, but get that initial understanding of what is it that I can afford. So if you need a home loan based on your income, based on your credit history, what amount are you potentially going to qualify for? And then from our service side, we apply for finance at all the banks, and that includes the private banks. We do get clients who want to do their own private thing every now and again. It's not in their best interest to do that. Allow us to do that for you, your own bank, and all the other banks' private banking suites. And what we then fundamentally do is play them up against each other, and we do get clients a lot more savings in interest rate if they do it themselves. So that's always the first question. What can we do in terms of interest rate saving? And by applying to all of the banks, we do that already in the process. But I think for the buyer as well, in some cases, for me, what's more important is what are the conditions within that finance? So if you only go to one bank, you're only going to get one answer and one option. Whereas when we apply to the various banks, there are different options besides the interest rates within the conditions of the finance that's offered. So the one bank's interest rate might not be as great, but the conditions within there is better and suits the client much better. So always shop around. Doesn't matter. We do that for anything else in our lives. If you want to fly to Joburg, we shop around for the best ticket price. But we fundamentally, or sometimes, don't do that for a very high purchase. So use us for that, to shop around. Get pre-qualified if you not sure what you qualify for. If you are sure and you're ready to sign the offer to purchase, sign the offer to purchase, and we'll obviously do our best to get you the best deal at the various banks.
Yeah, thank you. And then I think, I mean, I know I always say it, but we all love private bankers. They add a huge amount of value for any private bankers who are, who are watching. But when you are purchasing a home, it makes a lot of sense to shop around because banks are hungry for business, and sometimes it's not your own bank that gives you the best rate. So I think it's vitally important for people to understand, and I think that's where the relationship with Better on the Bottom of this project is so key, to make sure you're getting the best terms, and that you are using the benefit of choice to your advantage. And then Colin, I know it wasn't discussed as a question, but I think it's always important to ask if you had a crystal ball. We all know how important interest rates are, and we know that we are on a downward cycle on interest rates. And what are your projections? Someone buying now, taking transfer over a period of time. What do you think interest rates are going to do over the next 12 to 18 months? I know it's a very loaded question, but I know you've got a lot of experience here.
No, that's all good. I think I want to even make the period a little bit shorter. I think the Reserve Bank owes us at least 0.25% in the next 6 months. So we are projecting at least 0.5% in the next 12 to 18 months. But we do believe, and I strongly believe, they owed us 0.25% in the last discussion, but there's a good chance that we'll still get another 0.25% before the end of this year. Otherwise, first quarter of next year. They are dragging their feet a little bit with this, but we are used to that. But yeah, in the next 12 to 18 months, probably 0.5% in interest rate. And then I just want to add as well that another reason to shop around and is that the banks are hungry. You're 100% right. Stock is low in the Western Cape in terms of properties that are on the market and for sale, and therefore the banks are now competing even harder, because if we have less to submit to them, they've got less to approve, so they need to put their best foot forward all the time. So we are really seeing incredible deals, and you're not going to see that if you just go to one bank and your private bank. Rather shop around. We will speak to your private bank and involve them. So please, for that purpose, the banks are really hungry, as you said. But yeah, in terms of the rate, 0.25% probably owed to us in the next 6 months, and then potentially another quarter before the end of next year.
Okay, great. And then I'm going to ask the team to share on the chat the link to the Better Bond pre-approval app to establish your affordability, but that is also available on the Valverde website, which we will share
On the website,
on the
correct.
chat. Yeah, so I really encourage everyone to go through it. I think it just helps streamline the
It's a very
process.
quick process. I just want to add, it's a very quick process. If the client does what they need to do in uploading documents and allowing us to draw bank statements and all that, it's all in there. We can literally do it within half an hour, have an outcome for them. If they're a bit slow with their documents, and we do get it within 24 hours. So it's really not a long process at all.
Okay. So a lot of questions, which is awesome. It shows that people really want to know more. So I'm actually going to start going through questions. We'll obviously go back to other questions after that, but I'm going to fire away and try and direct them at who's best suited. Maybe to start off, a question: can you speak to security of the state? Deon, if I can maybe direct it at you.
Yeah, so the security is a perimeter security strategy. There will be a single gatehouse entrance with manned security. We will also have off-site security monitoring, which I think is probably the shortcoming in many estates, with only depending on on-site security. So we'll also be using off-site security monitoring, which makes sure that the security guard doesn't sleep on the job. Call-out services associated with that. And then once you're in the perimeter, we will also have monitoring service that can be linked to individual houses. So although you are more than welcome to have your house monitored by independent security service, linking into the greater system will be better. Perimeter fencing will be electrified, video camera monitoring, etc. And of course also response routes. So it's really coming into a state, and because of the quality of security, what we don't want inside of the estate is walls within walls. So we've been very strict with our approach of saying that you are not allowed to build a 2.1 meter perimeter wall around your property. You will have lower walls. Of course, we will allow transparent fencing to keep dogs in and things like that in private spaces. But the whole challenge is to have, and the opportunity is to have kids playing in the streets, in the parks, people walking, people being able to interact with their neighbors. So we're really trying to create a community environment inside, and we're basing that on the quality of perimeter security that we're providing.
Yeah, living like people should be living, hey?
Absolutely.
Lanis, a couple of questions your side. What is the price range of the homes? If you can just recap on that.
The prices start at 4,795, which is average at the moment for a really nice, well-fitted 3-bedroom home in Somerset West. It obviously depends on where you are, what plot you've chosen, how big it is, because there's quite a variation in the sizes of the plots. You can have a large single-story house on a 650 square meter plot, or a smaller house with, as you say, the double story. It gives you similar accommodation, but then your price would be cheaper because of the plot. I think that the Somerset West people tend to think that we're always too expensive. Unfortunately, we've got such an influx of people from out of Somerset West, and especially from Gauteng and Natal coming down, that they have raised the prices here. And it's something that we're going to have to live with. I mean, you pay more for your milk, but you don't expect to make more for your home that you're going to live in. So I just think that to get in fast and to get in first is going to give you the best option. If you buy, people say now it's expensive, but if you buy now, in 3 years, by the time this section is built and it's now established, you're going to have to pay more if you want to buy into any other section. So you're going to have made that money back while enjoying the best of the lifestyle it has to offer.
Yeah, thanks.
Just to add to what Lanis is, Stefan, just to add to what Lanis is saying, you're also buying now for delivery round about 12 months out from where we are, 12 to 14 months. So you've got to also consider what escalations will be over the next year and a half, and that is already being considered into the price.
Yeah, but also, I mean, I think getting in early, there's a double escalation effect. Well, I certainly see it that way. There's a capital appreciation you're getting within the state in Somerset West area, call it 7 or 8%. But then there's also that initial surge from the off plan to completion stage, which almost doubles up a little bit in terms of when infrastructure goes in. And I think we always see that that's where guys really make their return.
Yeah. Traditionally in Somerset West, the quality and the location has always driven the value of the properties. So by getting in now, obviously, and choosing a good plot, it's going to actually keep line with what we are doing outside of the estate in price, and actually going to be bringing a lot of more value in by establishing the better houses.
Yeah. And then, Lanis, I mean, so it's a couple of questions. I just want to actually combine 2 questions into one, if I can. Firstly, what has the level of interest been like? And secondly, to Ryan's question, is how much of that is linked to the shopping centers, the schools, the hospitals, and everything you've got nearby?
Wow. We have exceptional schools here for a start. So that brings a lot of the younger families in. And we have a wide range of them, from the private schools to very good government schools as well. Somerset West is one of those rare areas that offers a very good balance of lifestyle as well. You've got the beaches, you've got the mountain views, the wine estates all the way around. So it offers a lot from overseas and local people's interest. And then, what else can I say? We've got very good hospitals and medicals. The growth rate here has, since I've been here now for 30 years, actually just kept more than pace with anything else in the rest of South Africa. And what it makes and what it stands out for is obviously we're seeing interest from upsizers coming in, younger people. I've had quite a few calls from people that have immigrated and are now wanting to come back, and this has tweaked their interest. And we constantly have the people from France and Germany and England coming to buy properties here.
Yeah, so I guess the question around the demand, I mean, we've seen the leads, the volume of leads, the volume of people who've RSVP'd to Saturday. I guess a lot of that speaks to that, hey?
Sorry?
No, I'm just saying, I guess the demand we're seeing for Saturday speaks to what you're saying now in terms of facilities and location.
Yes, I think so. And I think that we're going to get, I think we're going to still get a lot more local interest once we open up, and they become aware of it and more used to it, and come and actually walk on site, because that for me was the turning factor into really wanting to be involved in this estate, was when I walked on site and I saw the lifestyle that they were aiming at.
Stefan, I just wanted to add. Sorry, I just wanted to add, I deal with quite a few estate agents in the area as well, and Somerset West is definitely one of the most sought after areas in the Western Cape. And again, speaking to the lack of stock, the lack of properties available, and it's due to that because it is so popular. Close to Stellies, close to Hermanus, not that far away from Cape Town and Paarl, so it really is a very sought after area.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce, just so you know, you're on mute just for when I ask you a question. But the question that all architects love, I'm going to combine 2 into 1. Are changes to the finishes permitted? And are any changes to the interior design layout permitted?
What a great question. It's the age-old problem. Deon's laughing for good
It's a
reason.
pleasure.
Steph, this place is here for everybody. There are options to suit every taste. We've really taken care. This estate is not for us or the development team. This is for the people who are going to live here. It's flexible. It will suit every lifestyle, every sort of taste of interior design and finish and so on. There's loads of options available. People can really customize their home, and not just on the interior, as we already pointed out, the exterior options are there. So yeah, lots and lots of options, and people are really able to express their individuality and get the home that they want. And what was the second question,
Okay.
Steph? Sorry, let me just make sure I
No,
answer both.
I think you answered. I think it was finishes and internal layout.
Yeah. So the layouts are very flexible in that there's a number of options that fit on each site. So we've taken care to design the homes in for the reasons that I explained earlier. And so anything within those parameters can absolutely be changed. Again, to emphasize, this home is for these homes are for those who live in them, not for us. And so, to whatever can be accommodated that's already not already accommodated in the wide variety of options, we'll certainly do our best to accommodate those changes, but in a way where we bring our expertise to bear. And that speaks to all that long-term timelessness that we've used to design these homes.
Yeah, I think just to add to what Bruce is saying is where somebody is really interested in changing the standard typologies. The process that we would follow is we would sit down and understand the change requirements, and those change requirements will go back to our urban design team. And there are very specific design constraints that we've set on ourselves. It's part of our statutory approvals, and it would be put to the team, and a critical engagement will take place. I think it's imperative that we understand that although you're buying an earth, you are buying into a community. And it's imperative that your house complements the community, that we don't compromise your neighbor's privacy in the same way that the neighbor must not compromise your privacy, that the changes do not change the ethic, as Bruce has explained. And if we can do changes that improve the address, we will definitely consider them. But it is subject to the process and the same strict engagement we've put to ourselves.
Deon, so quite a few questions, and I know initially, everyone, I know we said 45 minutes. We're probably going to be closer to an hour just to try and get to the questions if everyone can just bear with us. But a couple of questions around construction. Number one, when will construction commence? And number two, around contractors, do you work with different builders from a construction perspective? I think it's just the question is how will you construct?
Yeah. So before we go into the construction questions and the builders questions, I think it's and perhaps Lanis can add to this. We are selling a plot and plan product. You'll be signing two agreements, one for the earth and one for the top structure. We have interviewed a number of contractors, and we have selected 4 contractors that we have approved for this development. That number might increase in due course. There are 400 odd opportunities across the state. We've set ourselves a maximum limit of 440 units, probably be less, but there's a lot of building that will take place. And it's incredibly important that, firstly, it takes place in an ordered manner, and secondly, that we make sure that the quality is absolutely maintained. So not only will the purchaser and their bank be looking after the quality of what is being built, we ourselves are going to be looking after that as well. So what we've done is we've grouped the housing, or the first phase of the housing, in 4 pockets, each of the pockets being allocated to a specific builder. And the builder will be responsible not only just building those houses in that specific allocation, but they'll also be responsible for looking after the common area, making sure that the verges are protected, that the road surfaces aren't messed up. And so we want our builders to take a long-term view, to be involved over the next 5 to 7 years, however long it takes us to build out this estate, and for them to also contribute by making sure that they provide a quality product and that they look after the common areas and the communal interests. So, yeah, again, pretty unique in terms of our approach. And if any other builders would like to get involved in the project in due course, they'll be put through the same test. Make sure that they've got a track record, that they've got a history, that they're acceptable to the banks, and most importantly, that they actually are able to build the quality that Bruce has designed.
And
when will construction start? So we've set ourselves a pre-sale limit. Our finance is not dependent on pre-sales, but we've set ourselves a pre-sale limit. We expect to hit that by the end of the year, and we expect the civil infrastructure to commence when builders' holidays end in January next year. The caveat is we also have to have all of our civil infrastructure work approved by the municipality. So it is dependent on getting all of those approvals in place. But I expect works to start late January, early February next year. That's on the civil infrastructure side. We can't start building houses until the internal infrastructure for the phase has been approved by the municipality, completed. In the industry in Cape Town, we call it Section 137 rates clearances, which is then the point where people will take transfer of their urban. We expect that to be mid 2026, in Q2, start Q3. And then construction on these types of houses would typically be 6 to 8 months, depending on the complexity. So we expect people to be able to move into their homes by the end of next year, early 2027.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, I think we'll talk about the launch process, but it's just clarify. So we're talking 12, well, we're talking 12, yeah. So you're basically talking 14, 15, 16 months from first guys moving in, beginning of 27. You're putting down your 20,000 Rand at launch. You then paying the balance of your 10%. So basically, you'll be 10% down, but seeing the capital appreciation on the full purchase price between now and when you are registering your bond and taking transfer of your unit.
Yeah, maybe opportune just to talk about that process. And again, the agents working the site will be able to take any prospective purchaser through the detail. But in broad terms, you'd be expected to sign a reservation agreement, to have your reservation agreement sterilize in italics the specific earth. We require you to pay a 20,000 Rand deposit. Within 21 days from us receiving that deposit, you'd be expected to sign your land agreement and your sales agreement. Once that is done, within 3 days from that signature, you are required to put down a 10% of the land price as a deposit. That's held in trust account by our attorneys, MHI attorneys based in Bellville. Again, very well known in the northern suburbs, conveyancing attorney Stefan Botha. The deposits are held on trust, interest accruing for the purchaser's benefit. And once your bond is approved, you have 21 days from signature of your agreement to have your bond approved. That then moves you into a guarantee phase. If you're a cash purchaser, you're required to put a guarantee or the full purchase price again on trust for the purchaser's benefit with the attorneys, either that or a bond, approved bond via Colin and his team. That then brings the contract to unconditional from the purchaser's side. The minute that we hit our pre-sales, which we expect to have by the end of the year, the contract suite becomes unconditional, and then we move into construction. So in broad terms, again, the fine-grained detail the agents will be able to share with prospective purchasers.
Lanis, a couple of questions. Obviously, pets has been raised quite a few times. Is the development pet friendly, number one? And secondly, are there restrictions on pets? And while we're with pets, can we also talk about levies? Even though they're pretty unrelated, but so I'll try to get through some questions.
It is pet friendly, but obviously within reason. We're looking at the normal household dogs and cats. they would have to undergo some sort of screening process as well on leads and that, but there's plenty of space to walk dogs, and it lends itself to enjoying the animals romping around with the kids in the parks if they're well behaved. Lifestyle is in Somerset West is definitely more outdoors. And so I think that that's one of the biggest benefits here, is that the space that we can make for the children, and obviously then animals, and that would be, I think, bar none, that I haven't launched a development that has this much opportunity.
And then, Lanis, just in terms of levies, can you just talk high level on that? And typically, for anyone who doesn't know what the levies would include?
Okay, levies are always projected to remain very competitive. They're always in line with what the municipalities are going to charge, but that is basically by them with they will give us the restriction, and it's very commensurate with all the other developments. We're not going to charge double levies just because we've got all of the ground and the facilities. It has to be within line. We're thinking, I think, can I give an estimate, Deon?
Yeah, you can, yes,
Okay.
Lanis.
We're looking probably at, for one of the houses, once it's established, around about 3,000 rand a month.
Yeah.
Okay, got
And
it.
yeah, so that 3,000 Rand buys you the security perimeter, the maintenance of round about, what is it? Just do the math in my head, about 29 hectares of communal open space, all of the road infrastructure, the bulk services connection to the site, the sub-metering. Of course, you still need to pay your own utilities, but that will be invoiced by the Property Owners Association. Yeah, so it is competitive. And yeah, I mean, the developer is providing all of the infrastructure, the gatehouse, we haven't spoken about communal facilities, and it's interesting that the question doesn't seem to come up. So
yeah.
So one of the questions I see on the chat, Steph, is one entry to a 440 development. Is it not too small? The answer very simply is 2 lanes in, 2 lanes out. I was actually thinking on the way to the webinar about this infamous hill climb that just took place in Cape Town. The city closed down 15% of the city bowl's exit capacity, road capacity. 2 lanes closed down, exiting. That's 15%. That's the whole of the city bowl. Now, we are providing 2 lanes in, 2 lanes out, more than sufficient. We also have an emergency exit, which won't be open for normal use, but in the event unforeseen of some catastrophe, there is an emergency exit directly onto Solaris Pass that's been approved by the municipality. But we believe it's more than sufficient, and we also believe in controls, security control. The minute that you have more than one entrance into an estate like this, you are compromising your security, and for us, so technically not a problem, but it will work well to the benefit of the estate. On the communal facilities, not only just a gatehouse, we have what we call the circle building, which will be part of our second phase of the development, a gym facility, office space for the Owners Association, and some support infrastructure. And in our third phase, we will be doing our recreational space towards the east of the development that will include an estate pool, 2 paddle courts, and some additional surprises, which I don't want to talk about right now. But effectively, we're spreading the communal facilities across the estate with the purpose of getting people out of their houses to use the jogging routes, to use the parks, and to use the facilities.
And also all of the security aspects and the infrastructure of the pools and the runways and the gym are covered within the levies.
Correct.
So those levies actually encompass an awful lot.
It's a very good question from Anonymous. A lot of anonymous people in the chat. But will the state run as a sectional title scheme or as a HOA scheme from a levy perspective?
So there is no sectional title in this project. I think it's important to emphasize that. All urban are transferred full title to purchasers. and thereafter it is a property owners association. In fact, it's the Valverde Estate Owners Association that will manage all of the infrastructure.
Yeah, and I think it's a very, very relevant point in terms of type of ownership.
Steph, just on that point there, I see there's a question about short-term rentals. This is not a uh, what's the term I'm looking for, Bruce? The short-term rental guys.
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
This is not an
And
Airbnb
a
site.
part of all.
We
Yeah.
want people for a minimum of 3 months in the estate. If you are doing the relative short-term rentals, any tenant will be screened. The owner will take full responsibility. All of the information of tenants will be captured within the security system. We've heard too many stories about short-term rentals and inside jobs transpiring. This is about a community. And if you are planning to put tenants in your property, we would prefer them to be longer term tenants. The shortest term that we will allow is 3 months.
Okay. Yeah, I hope we've answered a lot of the question around the number of units. I think Deon spoke about approximately 440. I hope we've covered a lot around the construction timelines and around the purchase purchase process. I know there was a question around the deposit. Your 10% deposit will go into trust. If you do not secure your bond or fulfill all the suspensive conditions of your contract, your deposit will be refunded.
Deposits are refundable. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think, Lanis, there was a really good question here about, we've spoken very much around the market here, and I know there was a question earlier about, is this a younger family market, is it a retiree market, which maybe you can quickly cover. But then the very quick question, we know a lot of people are buying here because of what it offers from a lifestyle perspective, but if you're an out and out investor who sees the value of Somerset West as an area in terms of scarcity, also sees the opportunity of getting a really good long-term tenant in and getting that type of return, how would this stack up as an investment option?
Wow, please come and see me. Every day, I'm in an estate already where I'm working, it's being sold out, but every day I get a request for expensive rentals. I mean, a normal 3-bedroomed house in this particular estate, we can get anything from 28 to 32. And that's not that it's up luxury or it has a lot of amenities. It's just a regular normal house with excellent security. I think that launch day is moving very quickly. And I think that we have a limited number of opportunities on the properties, despite the fact that we've got 440. It's going to go very quickly. And I think that people that don't make the decision to come and see what they can envision in their future, that's what they want for their families. I think that any interested buyer with the pre-approval, who goes through the pre-approval process now and comes ready to buy something when he is there, put the holding deposit down. I've done a lot of developments and I can guarantee that this is going to be one of the top ones.
And so just one last thing, Lanis, in terms of the question around we always know that the huge value comes when you have multi-generational estates, you have younger families, you have older, early retirees. Do you see quite a big mix happening here?
Absolutely. I've already, just on the people that I've been screening, because I found all the people that actually go in, I've been screening them and asking them, why are you buying it? Some are buying it as an investment, very few in fact. Obviously, most of them are family homes, but some people are buying the small homes because they want to retire here in 10 years. They are looking forward to the future.
Yeah. Guys, we're going to have to wrap up just for time.
I'm going to just jump in. There was a question about construction. I think it's important to emphasize this. We are selling plots and plans. We are not selling land to speculative owners who like some famous estates in the Western Cape, where you have undeveloped urban 5, 6, 7 years later. That's not on. So we are putting down. There's an obligation to start commencement of construction within 12 months from building plan approval. The maximum will be 3 years to completion, but it's important to keep in mind we are selling plot with a plan, with a building contract signed. And as soon as the builder is ready to start constructing, he will start constructing. We do not want this to be a construction site ad infinitum. We want portions of the estate to be completed. So every super block that is sold, we're not going to release the next super block until the previous super block is 70-80% completed. For two reasons. The one is it is disrespectful to expect people to live on construction sites for unreasonable periods of time. And secondly, we want people to complete their houses so that if they want to change into a next phase of the opportunity, there will be another experience for them. So I think it's important to emphasize that we are working with our purchasers as partners in the scheme, and we need to respect them accordingly.
100%. Guys, I know there's still a lot to cover. I hope we've got through most of the question. There's always more. Actually wanted to pull up the interactive map, wanted to put Bruce in the spot in terms of where he would buy and where he would recommend. But I know it's been shared on the chat, and I really encourage you to go onto the website. You'll see in one of the tabs it says interactive map. Go on there. You can see which sites can take different unit types. You can see what the prices of the different unit types on the plot. Give you a really good indication. Also look at the views, look at the amenities. And if you have any queries around that, please ask the sales team. I know the sales team's numbers and details have been shared in the chat. The price list, interactive price list, has also just been shared in the chat. So please play around with it. It's for you to utilize, and we wanted to make it as user-friendly as you possibly can and a real aid for you going to launch event. But I think there was a question around recapping the number of units. Only 52 units launched in the first phase. Really looking forward to Saturday. Sales kick off at 9 a.m. Heidelberg FM will be live on site. There will be a community trail run where the registration starts at 8 a.m., which you can register off the Valverde website. There will be food vendors. There will be artisanal coffee, which is basically very nice coffee. And yeah, we're really looking forward to it. And I think, as Lanis said, you have to get to site. And if you desperately want to get to site beforehand, chat to the sales team, get your appointment done, so you can see what it is. You have every opportunity to make the best choice come Saturday. But again, thank you very much to everyone for your time. Thank you to the panelists. I think we could have chatted for another hour, but wary of time. And like I said, there will be a recording circulated tomorrow for everyone who didn't get the chance to listen. And if you want to go back and through some questions, otherwise contact the team and go through everything with them. But exciting times.
Steph, just to add to what you just said, if you're coming on Saturday, bring your tackies, your walking shoes. We have scraped all the roadways. You can walk to every plot is marked. Yeah, come and walk the site is the invitation.
Colin, Bruce, Lanis, Deon, thanks very much, guys. And thanks to all of you who've listened and attended. And thanks for all the questions. It really gave us great context to be able to get through all of them. So thank you, everyone, and hope you guys have a great evening. And see you on Saturday.
We'll see you Saturday. Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye.